The rise of non-alcoholic beer. More people are choosing non-alcoholic beer. It's a way to enjoy the taste of beer without the effects of alcohol. This makes it great for designated drivers, athletes, and anyone wanting to cut down on alcohol. Brewing your own beer at home is a rewarding hobby. It allows you to control the ingredients, flavor, and alcohol content. This guide will focus on brewing delicious non-alcoholic beer right in your own kitchen.
Section 2. Gathering your supplies. Before you begin, you'll need some basic brewing equipment. A large stock pot, a fermenter, and bottles are essential. You'll also need a thermometer, hydrometer, and cleaning supplies. Specialized equipment like a wort chiller and bottling bucket can be helpful. These items may sound intimidating, but they are readily available online or at home brew shops. The staff at these shops can offer valuable advice for beginners.
Section 3. Mashing the grains. Mashing is the first step in extracting sugars from the grains. Crush your grains using a grinder or purchase pre-crushed grains. Mix the crushed grains with hot water in your stock pot. Maintain a specific temperature range, usually between 148 to 158 degrees Fahrenheit, which activates enzymes in the grains that break down starches into fermentable sugars. This process, called mashing, takes about 60 to 90 minutes. After mashing, you separate the sweet liquid, called wort, from the spent grains. This can be done using a strainer or a specialized system called a lauter tune. The wort is now ready for the next step, boiling. The spent grains can be composted or used in baking. Mashing is a crucial step that determines the fermentability and body of your beer.
Section 4. Boiling the wort. Bring the wort to a boil in your stock pot. Boiling serves several important purposes. First, it sterilizes the wort, killing any unwanted microorganisms. Second, it allows you to add hops for bitterness, flavor, and aroma. Hops are typically added at different times during the boil. Early additions contribute to bitterness, while later additions provide aroma. The boil typically lasts 60 minutes, but this can vary depending on the recipe. During the boil, you'll also want to monitor the wort's gravity using a hydrometer. This measures the sugar concentration, which will later determine the alcohol content. As the wort boils, some water evaporates, concentrating the sugars. The boil is also an opportunity to make adjustments to the recipe if needed. After the boil, the wort is rapidly cooled to prepare for fermentation.
Section 5. Fermentation time. Once the wort is cooled, transfer it to a sanitized fermenter. Add your chosen yeast strain. There are many different yeast strains, each with unique characteristics that influence the beer's flavor. Seal the fermenter and attach an airlock. This allows carbon dioxide to escape while preventing oxygen from entering. The yeast will begin consuming the sugars in the wort, producing alcohol and carbon dioxide. Fermentation typically takes 1 to 2 weeks, but this can vary depending on the yeast strain and temperature. During this time, the yeast will transform the wort into beer. You can monitor the progress by observing the airlock activity and taking gravity readings with a hydrometer. Once fermentation is complete, we move on to the crucial step of removing the alcohol. Section 6. Removing the alcohol. There are several methods for removing alcohol from beer. One common method is heating. Heating the fermented beer to a specific temperature causes the alcohol to evaporate. However, this can also affect the flavor of the beer. Another method is using a vacuum distillation system. This gently removes the alcohol at lower temperatures, preserving more of the beer's original character. The choice of alcohol removal method depends on your budget and desired outcome. Some homebrewers prefer to purchase specialized equipment, while others use simpler methods. Regardless of the method, the goal is to reduce the alcohol content to 0.5% ABV or lower. This ensures a truly non-alcoholic beer.
Section 7. Carbonation for fizz. Carbonation is what gives beer its characteristic fizz. After alcohol removal, the beer is flat and needs to be recarbonated. One way to carbonate is by adding a small amount of sugar to the beer before bottling. This provides the yeast with additional food to produce carbon dioxide. Another method is forced carbonation, which involves injecting carbon dioxide directly into the beer using a keg and CO2 tank. The level of carbonation is a matter of personal preference. Some people prefer a highly carbonated beer, while others prefer a more subtle fizz. The carbonation level can also affect the beer's mouthfeel and overall enjoyment. Experiment with different levels to find what you like best.
Section 8. Bottling and aging. Once the beer is carbonated, it's time to bottle it. Clean and sanitize your bottles thoroughly. Fill the bottles, leaving a small amount of headspace. Cap the bottles securely. If you use the sugar method for carbonation, store the bottles at room temperature for 1 to 2 weeks to allow carbonation to occur. Afterward, the bottles can be stored in a cool, dark place. Non-alcoholic beer generally has a shorter shelf life than regular beer. It's best to consume it within a few months. However, some styles may benefit from a short period of aging. This allows the flavors to mellow and blend. Keep track of your bottling dates and experiment with different aging times.
Section 9. Flavor and quality tips. The flavor of your non-alcoholic beer depends on several factors. The choice of ingredients, yeast strain, and fermentation temperature all play a role. Experiment with different grain bills to create a variety of beer styles. For example, a wheat beer will have a different flavor profile than a stout. The quality of your water also affects the final product. Use filtered or spring water for best results. Sanitation is crucial throughout the brewing process. Any contamination can ruin your beer. Thoroughly clean and sanitize all equipment and bottles. Use a no-rinse sanitizer to ensure effectiveness. Keep your work area clean and organized. By paying attention to detail and maintaining good sanitation practices, you can ensure a high-quality, flavorful, non-alcoholic beer.
Section 10. Cheers to homebrewing. Brewing your own non-alcoholic beer is a rewarding experience. It allows you to create a personalized beverage that suits your taste and lifestyle. The process may seem daunting at first, but with practice and patience, you'll be able to brew delicious non-alcoholic beers. Don't be afraid to experiment with different recipes and techniques. Share your creations with friends and family. Homebrewing is a journey of discovery. You'll learn something new with each batch you brew. There are countless resources available online and in books to help you along the way. Join a local homebrew club to connect with other enthusiasts and share your passion. So, gather your supplies, embrace the challenge, and enjoy the satisfaction of brewing your own non-alcoholic beer.